Welcome to the Arsenal Show. We are live and it is Arsenal's 2023-24 season review. Well, not the official one, but it's the Transfer Exchange Show, KS1 TV1. I'm joined by Melvin, Marks and Steve K. How you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Very good. Thanks, mate.
All right, we've got plenty to discuss tonight, as plenty did happen during Arsenal's campaign this year. Ups, downs, roundabouts, close calls, so close yet so far by the end of the season, and we're going to be talking about it tonight. Let's go. Mikel Arteta started the season with some new faces, and he had heads spinning and tongues wagging as new arrivals of David Raya and Kai Havertz arrived. Big summer signings of Declan Rice got fans excited, as well as impressive pre-season from Jurrien Timber, and it looked like Arsenal were going to do some serious business to catch up with Manchester City. Only one game in, new signing Jurrien Timber was out, and Thomas Partey was also out with a long-term injury. But those worries, and that was a bit of a worry. But September came, Declan Rice scores his first goal for Arsenal against Manchester United, and he's serenaded by 60,000 Arsenal fans singing "Rice, Rice, Baby." Steve, at that time, Declan Rice made a big impression from when he first started straight away at the club. And it was that game which it was kind of not sort of justification. It was a little bit of a cherry on the top for some good performance that he'd had previously, but to get his first goal in such a big game and such an important goal, the winning goal as well, was a good sort of start to his Arsenal career.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of talk about, could he do it in the big games for Arsenal, and he was playing well against certain teams, but could he do it against the more well-known ones in big matches? And that was one, like you said, that was the one he stood up in. He was excellent in that game. He controlled the midfield, and he popped up. He popped up with a winner. I don't think many Arsenal fans had any really doubts right from the off that he was going to be a success. We all couldn't wait for the signing to be, announced, and to see him get in. We knew he was we assumed that he was the guy that was going to take us, close to City this year, closer than what we did last season. And yeah, look, it proved to be right. And popping up. I remember the goal, he chested it down, didn't he? And it was right towards the end of the game. Was it nearly the last kick? And and buried it in the back of the net. And it was great, mate. It was great. And as you say, ever since that time, he's just gone on from strength to strength. There's just been no looking back from that. And it was the start of a fantastic season from him.
Yeah. Melvin, did you expect Declan Rice to hit the ground running like he did at Arsenal?
No, even before the goal, the performance he was putting in was unbelievable. It was just, he was intercepting so many balls. He was at the right place at the right time. He was winning 40, 60 tackles every single time. And it's like a change in a saying, an old saying. It's not quite the same. I've moved it around a bit. You never know what's missing until you get it. I mean, it's unbelievable how he just getting in there. He looked so right when he started for us, and he put us on another level. Basically, he has put us on another level because all of a sudden we can attack and don't worry about what's behind us. Sometimes there's very few teams now that can have us on the counter because he's got speed, he's got awareness. And even, as I say, even before he scored that goal, you knew the guy was quality. That 100,000 or whatever it was, after the first few touches in the first game against Forest, you went, nah, right price. We were all wrong. It was the wrong price. We did West Ham, but we've been very, very happy, and we're fortunate that our club had the vision and were prepared to back the manager. So very happy. I mean, when you think about it, Kieran. Out of the 40, we've signed 4 players, I think, pre-season. And 3 of them, everyone was going, what the hell? Rice was obviously not what the hell. The other 3 was the goalkeeper, right? Going, What's he done that for? What's Ramsdale done wrong? Also, Carl Havertz, beginning of the season, a bit more longer than actually going. What is his strength? What's his position? What's he doing on the pitch? And also how unlucky we were with Timber. You could see, even though he played just over, I think it was a half or something, 40 odd minutes, I think it was. You could tell he had it, but when he got injured, it was like deflated. We won that game against Forest, I think it was, but we went away deflated because we saw what a problem that was. You know, he got booked for that. By the way, he got booked for the challenge, which was I thought a bit strange. But anyway, no, Rice, fantastic.
Yeah, no, he had a great start to his Arsenal career. Despite the first 5 fixtures. Despite starting the first 5 fixtures, as Melvin was saying, Ramsdale was dropped in favour of David Raya. According to Ramsdale Senior, his son was not given a reason or an area to work on. The manager, though, insisted that he didn't have a number 1 and that he will select his keeper based on form. He says he'd even considered subbing his goalies as a tactical switch. Steve, there was a lot of controversy around that time. Do you think Mikel Arteta handled it well? And we'll ask that one first. Do you think Mikel Arteta handled the situation well? What, from like in questions? You mean ask when people ask them questions? Well, the whole situation from He's well within his rights to drop and play anyone he wants. So he's made that decision. Yeah. He's reasonings behind this decision, and then the talk of there's no number 1. There's players will play when they want. It could be week in, week out. And I've even wanted to swap a goalkeeper at half time or 20 minutes ago. Yeah. Tactical switch. Yeah. Do you think he handled that well? Yeah, I think so, mate. I think so. I think he's been proven right with the signing. When he first came in, I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't think, like, you know, from the off, what's he done? What's going on? But you know, when you look into it, Pep did it. You know, when in his first season, some people said, "Oh, you're just trying to copy Pep what he does," but. You know, I think he obviously sees something Ramsdale that he didn't like and that he felt that Raya had. I think he's been proved right in that. Obviously, we all feel sorry for Ramsdale with what he did. So I think the decision, based on the decision, I think he's made a good decision, in my opinion. And regarding like we'll swap them round and I've got 2 number 1s when he was asked the question. I mean, he probably expected the question to come up, obviously, because of the 2 goals. But I don't know what people would expect Mikel Arteta to say or any manager to say in them situations. I mean, what is the alternative? I'm bringing Ramsdale in. I don't rate Ramsdale. He's my new number 1. Because that's the only other thing you can really come up with, other than, I brought him in, we'll see what happens. And at the moment, I've got 2 number 1s. He can't come out and lambast Ramsdale, and because, I don't know, you just don't. And he probably didn't want to. So I think he was in a no-win situation regarding it. I mean, I can't think. I'm trying to think if there was maybe a better way he could have put it. You might, you and Melvin might be able to come up with one. I can't at the minute, other than what he said. Really, he probably didn't believe it when he said it, but he probably at the same time thought, "What else can I say?" To sort of, do I disrupt the team? Look, do I make otherwise? I want to. All the team to be together through the start of the season. I don't want to start calling out players and saying that he's totally dropped altogether, blah blah. So I think he handled it as well as what he could be. Whether he he's sitting there now and thinking maybe I should have said that, I don't know. But I honestly can't think of another way he could have handled it. As I say, you 2 guys might come up with something, and I might go, yeah, I agree. But I think he did the best he could. I thought he handled it pretty well. Sorry. Sneeze. Mel, do you think that Mikel Arteta handled it well? The situation with the talk of I can rotate goalkeepers, I can do it on a tactical switch. What was your thoughts on that?
Number one, he put himself in a very difficult situation by buying a goalkeeper when he had a number one that was, we thought, up to it, more than up to it, right? But did he handle it well? I don't think the club handled it well. Because if you was there, and we all saw it, when Raya's family got introduced to the club, it was a big, big loving. It was big unbelievable. Family, wasn't it? There was no way that Ramsdale had to buy a pair of goalkeeping gloves again for this club. There was no way when he said, I'm going to, switch it, it's on form. How can you tell a goalkeeper's on form when you don't play him? I'm not criticising him for not playing Ramsdale, because he's proved me and a lot of people wrong. But I'm saying you cannot say it was handled correctly. But I'm not just blaming Arteta, I'm blaming the club. I mean, I thought watching it, the next minute he's going to snap his fingers and there'll be 6 waiters coming, paella and sangria come round and give it.
How do you think? What do you think they should have? How they should have done it then, Mel?
I think.
What do you think? Steve, what do you think Arteta should have said?
It was a very delicate situation with a goalkeeper. Goalkeeper's a special situation. Remember, there's only one goalkeeper really. Very few. Well, don't know anyone in the top divisions F2. So it's a very delicate situation, and you've got. I think Ramsdale's top quality, right?
He is, yeah.
Right. It's very difficult when you've got a top quality goalkeeper and you buy another top quality goalkeeper. So therefore, I thought he put himself in a very, 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 very strange. He put himself under pressure. You've got to respect him for that, the manager. He took a chance, really, big chance. But I think what Arsenal should have done, and I may be wrong. You'll have to point this out to me if I am. But I think out of all the people we bought, we had Timber, Rice, who was a bigger signing than the goalkeeper, and Havertz. They made a bigger thing on the Arsenal webcam, whatever you call it, for the goalkeeper and the family than anybody else. There was other things done on all the other 3 players, don't get me wrong, but that for me stood out as the big arms round, we love you, son. You're part of us now. And I'm sure he has love for all the other 3. Of course he does. But to me, that shouldn't have been the number one. Rice should have been number one. And should have got down the list differently. I just
he did have some welcome though, Rice, didn't he?
Yeah.
I remember watching all the videos. Like it was like a movie.
Yeah, but he didn't have Rice's coming in, did he? He didn't have his
Rice's was big, but at the end of the day, it's the biggest transfer in our history.
Yeah, I'm just saying
that's got to be big. That's got to be big.
Yeah.
That's got to be big. Look, I don't think he handled it right. If I'm honest, I think as a goalkeeper myself, I think you've just got to be honest with us.
Do you think he should have just come out, Keys, and said, "Man"?
I don't think it's any of our. I don't think it's any of our business on that side. But I think Ramsdale earned that. This is a player who match-winning games. Like what I didn't like about the fact when Raya came in. It was just a lot of shade was thrown onto Ramsdale. It was like, oh, he was a liability at the end of the season. He's got this in him. And it was just like, excuse me, this was the guy who against Leicester pulled off one of the greatest saves I've ever seen in a double save against Liverpool. Kept us in the game. Like, yes, he had a mistake against Southampton that probably cost us that game. But every goalkeeper I've seen this season has made a mistake. Every player makes mistakes. It happens. But Ramsdale's got highlighted like way over the top. I think that Mikel Arteta should have been honest with Ramsdale. If he wanted Ramsdale there, it's a case of tell him what you need out of him, what you want more from him to make him a better player. If you don't want him there, be honest and say, if I'm honest, best thing is we start looking for another club. And I think that should have been dealt with that way. And then that way you can be the sort of secretive manager on the outside. You've not got to do any riddles and whatever he was doing. And then slowly it would come out that Ramsdale has been told that he's better off looking for another club. That's how it normally works everywhere else. All of a sudden, Mikel Arteta is looking for some new way of playing, and it was just like everyone saw through it straight away. Like as if you're going to swap a goalkeeper left, right, and centre in the season. Like, come on, man.
Or in a
like,
game.
In a game. Like in a game, you've got more chance in the game because let's say there's penalties and you've got a specialist penalty goalkeeper. Like he may bring him in, but to say you're going to swap a goalkeeper throughout the season, it's just like it's not feasible. There's no continuity.
I can't remember.
There's no consistency with the team.
Yeah, I can't remember how Pep handled it when he did it because he did it
said,
twice.
I've just checked.
You just checked? Yeah. It'd be good to hear what you said. But when Hart went and because he done it twice, didn't he? Bravo, we thought he was decent. We thought, wow, what a keeper. Hart, at the time we thought England goalkeeper. This is right. We thought a good goalkeeper, Joe Hart. As soon as he come in, he's on his bike.
Didn't he give the excuse, Steve? Didn't he give the excuse that he wants goalies to play with their feet a bit more? Didn't Pep do that?
He did.
But I think
he knew. Everyone knew what Pep wanted. When
we knew that, didn't we? We knew that.
Yeah.
We knew that without him telling us that. That's what Arteta wanted.
When he brought in Bravo. Bravo was seen when he came to the Premier League that he wasn't good enough as a shot stopper. So that was short term. Bravo was good with his feet. Everything else was not good enough. Was not strong enough. Didn't have a command of area. Had no aerial ability or shot stopping ability in the Premier League. That level, Premier League's different. You face a lot more shots. You've got to be strong in the area. You've got to command your area. Whether you're going to be boshing people about, it's different. But you have to have a presence. Bravo didn't have it. Ederson had it. You brought in Ederson. He's a big guy. And he's great with his feet. So that was clear once once they moved to Bravo. They saw they had the kicking, but they didn't have the goalkeeping side of things, and they had to upgrade there. With Joe Hart, Pep done it in his very Pep way, which was very much like it's time to move on. I've basically told him he can leave. Pep was quite ruthless with it, whereas Mikel Arteta doesn't have to be like that. And again, that's none of the press's business. That's media handling where you can talk your way out of situations without saying, yeah, this goalkeeper's at the end of the road with us. We're going to tend to move on. Because no one does that as a manager. You just don't do that as a player because circumstances change. Things can happen. Raya could have gone out with a cruciate knee ligament injury 2 days into training, and then he's got to bring Ramsdale back. So he can't say in that way. But he can have a conversation with Ramsdale and say it may be best that things move on. It's part of the game.
Yeah,
I just think it's just going to be handled a little bit better.
Yeah,
and I think
difficult
with that,
difficult
everything's difficult. As a manager, it's difficult. As a manager, you've got 30 odd players and you can only pick 11. It's difficult. I don't see why it's any different. I don't see why it's any different for a goalkeeper. We can see it. As goalkeepers, there's two players. If you're the main goalkeeper and you've got two understudies, and then they bring in a £30 million goalkeeper, you're looking at that like, what's happening here? And if the manager doesn't tell you anything, you're left in limbo.
The weird thing was a couple of months before he
understand why.
Exactly.
I completely understand why. If Mikel Arteta handles that better, his dad doesn't come out with those quotes. His dad doesn't come out with those quotes saying that because he's been honest. Like this is a northern guy. He wants honesty. He doesn't want.
So you don't think he was honest with him, Keys? Like behind the scenes?
I don't think he was. I don't think Ramsdale's dad would come out and say Mikel Arteta hasn't told him what he needs to work on or hasn't told him anything specific. I don't think he has. I don't think he would lie about that. There's no reason to lie about that. He's upset that his son, who was seen, let's be honest, Ramsdale was seen as someone you're going to be our goalkeeper for a good few years. Like not only were his performances there, like he, as a presence, as a player in the squad, he was a face, he was a figure. Like it was Ramsdale. So if you're seeing that, you're going into the season like, let's go. What we're doing, we nearly won the league last season. Boom, how can we do? What's our progression? Oh, what you brought?
Kids, I mean, you're the goalkeeper because I can't answer this question, mate. But you will, right? Mikel Arteta obviously sees something in Ramsdale he didn't like. Right, that's what I can guess, and because I've watched enough football to have a guess. But you You should be the one who's like says, yeah, it probably was this. It was probably was this. It was probably this. What actually was it
from what I
like about him?
From what I was reading, it was playing off of his weaker side and Ramsdale being reluctant to do it. Now, if you're talking about the 1% and your manager wants you to play off of your weaker side on the left, and you've got to be quick with it. Remember, he took out Leno not because his kicking was poor, because he wasn't quick enough, because it would delay stuff, and he wasn't decisive enough of where he wanted to go. Ramsdale was a breath of fresh air in that, where he was very decisive with it. Sometimes it was off, but he was very decisive with it. Ramsdale would, in the end, where he wasn't comfortable on certain sides, would then move to another side or not make that pass. And that's the difference. If you're not making that pass, the manager wants you to make, then you're not playing into his system. You're going against what he says. And that's another thing. You're going against what he says. Like, don't prove that you can do it.
Yeah.
So that's on Ramsdale. But it is what it is.
Yeah. And at the end of the day as well, as much as we love Ramsdale, at the same time, we do want a ruthless manager to make big decisions.
You do.
So,
You do want a ruthless manager. And he was definitely ruthless there.
Yeah.
Where am I? There we are. Yeah, we're still in the second month. Arsenal's performance was not as fluid as they were last season, but the Gunners were still getting results. Looking back, Steve, can you point out where you thought the issues were?
Well, if you remember, mate, I didn't really think there was an issue because I knew I kept saying I knew what he was trying to do. You know, we spoke about on the show quite a bit on, you know, how he was trying to play it at the back a lot more, the slower build up, and how that wasn't actually clicking into place as you know, or it was taking time to click into place. Havertz was playing with the 8 with the time, and although we was winning matches, we wasn't as planned as well, and it seems to be affecting our front players, and we wasn't as fluid. That was the big word, wasn't it? The fluidity had gone. Martinelli was off form. Jesus was off form up front. He weren't doing it. Ketty was coming in for games. Saka wasn't doing it like he should. And the big question was what's going on. But you know, Ben White was a little bit quiet at the beginning of the season, and we was all wondering why he wasn't going forward. You know, what was going on? You know, why was but that part of the season, that poor part of the season, if you can call it that, probably in the end was worth it because of where we are now. I think we had to do that to be where we are now, in my eyes, which is the best we've been since the Invincibles. And for me, arguably, probably touching with Man City now is the best team in the Premier League by quite a distance between the two of us. So I think it was worthwhile. It just took time, mate. It took time. But eventually it came together. He had to make a few changes, didn't he? In the end, he moved Havertz up front. And things started to click into place. Jorginho was brought in, wasn't he? And he started, and Rice in the 8, and then Havertz was talking out with Jesus coming up. And then it all started ticking for some reason, then didn't it? And then we was on fire, and Odegaard was on form. So I don't think there was a worry. I wasn't worried anyway. I know a lot of Arsenal fans were because they wasn't happy with the way we was playing, and everyone was going, "Oh, we're not as good as we was last season." I didn't see it like that. I just see it. I knew what he was trying to do, and I knew what he wanted to do. He wanted to just make us, you know, our defence stronger, our midfield stronger, and he got it spot on in the end. He got it spot on. So yeah.
Mel, we weren't as fluid at the start of the season, and probably most of the first half of the season. Can you put your finger on what it could have been?
When you say what it could have been, what do you mean? Sorry.
Well, like, do you think it was the style of play? Do you think there was personnel differences? Do you think it was the new players that came in? What do you think it was?
I think it was a number of things, Kieran. I think first of all, it's very a bit disrespectful what I'm going to say, but it was what I honestly think in my heart. We were playing with at most 10 men because Havertz was just taking someone's shirt. He wasn't doing it. He was I don't know if he was out of position or what. He didn't bring anything to the game. After I used to speak to my son and all that after, go, well, what did he actually do today? I know he got into some good positions. I don't mean necessarily in front of goal. I meant he made himself available, but when the ball came to him, great, he waited and all of a sudden he just touched the ball. He didn't quite kick it properly. It was like he'd never kicked the ball before. It was all to do with confidence, we know that. But all of a sudden you had Partey. I think did we play him right back for a little bit this season as well?
Yeah, it was at the end of last season.
Last season, that was
end of last season. Yeah.
Well, it was just that was number one. It was Partey was taking up. Partey Havertz was taking up someone's position he shouldn't have done. Like you said, Steve, from the get-go, Martinelli has had a shocking season for him. You would have said
probably been our worst player.
12 months ago, Steve, you'd have said someone comes in with 100 million. No way. Go away and have a proper think about it.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, now you'd take it, wouldn't you?
No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
No. Not off one bad. Not off one bad.
It's not as if there was anyway. He didn't play well. So and then when the manager moved Havertz up front, Martinelli wasn't quite in the team as much as he was. Trossard came in, not all the time, but he did a good job when he came in. That helped us. Jesus, when he did play for us at the beginning of the season, wasn't doing anything at all. So when that's another plus for Havertz when he played in that position, it helped us a hell of a lot. We see more fluid because Havertz is very good when he gets the ball. He's one step ahead. He gives it straight away sometimes, and he makes us. Whereas Jesus is a brilliant footballer. But what he's done of late this season, he gets the ball and he's like, he goes right, he goes left. He wants to beat the player first instead of looking for the pass. That's my opinion. I might be wrong. And it slows us down. He really does. And obviously in front of goal, he's been a shocker in the Premier this year. Zinchenko, look at him. He started playing at left back. He hasn't had a good season at all. We only started playing better when he didn't play. And you got Kivor starting. Or Tommy started. It was more Keeble than Tommy, I agree. But that's another reason we started playing better. And it all started to gel together. And also, Ben White was a slow starter to the season. He got better as the season went on. So I think, and also, if Jorginho doing a job, he did a job for us as well, which he didn't start the season with us, I don't think. And he was playing a little bit more and he improved us. So there's all these little things together just seem to click. If you'd have said to me, that were Zinchenko non-season, Jesus a non-season, Martinelli a non-season, Partey, with all due respect, a non-season, and we finished second in the league, 2 points behind City, I'd say you need a straitjacket, but it happened.
It did. Yeah, I think there was a few factors in our first half of the season. I think obviously new players having to bed in. But I think the biggest part, kind of both of you sort of covered it, was that midfield. Like I think that we've underestimated the impact or the loss of Thomas Partey. Yeah, he didn't have the best end to the season. We saw in 3 games that he did play that it was very, very good. But Declan Rice on the half turn is not as quick as Partey on the half turn. Jorginho is not as quick as Partey on the half turn. Jorginho's got a better pass than Partey, but he doesn't pass through the lines as often as Partey. They can all do different things that each other can't do. And I think that Declan Rice was being asked to do 2 jobs because Havertz wasn't in midfield. He was kind of in between. He was playing in like an 8 and a 10. And Declan Rice was being asked to play a 6 and an 8. And that is why in those early games of the season, we were all like, this guy's everywhere. He's up in the left. He's up in the right. He's defending. He's tracking. I see some of them highlights where I saw of Declan Rice where he was in the opposition's half and he's run all the way back and tackled a player on the edge of the area and then he gets the ball and plays it out. It was phenomenal. But that's because he's being asked to do so much. And And I think we saw that in maybe the latter parts of that first half of the season when Declan Rice was starting to look really, really tired because he's being asked to play all over the place. Once Arteta brought Jorginho in, I thought it gave that, because I said it a couple of times on the show, I said, we played better with Jorginho in that middle because Declan Rice has got a little bit more freedom. He's not being asked to do as much. And I think that's when we saw the teams come together a lot more. With that, Ben White was attacking more. I think we're getting to it a bit very soon because it's coming up. But obviously after Christmas, we were a completely different animal. But yeah, I put it massively down to Jorginho being a big impact in that middle.
Yeah, he had a great season, Jorginho. Yeah. He had a fantastic season.
Yeah, a player that I think there was a lot of talk about people looking to get rid of him, move him on. He's not this, he's not that. He's slow. Come on, he's class, absolutely class. And as people have said many times, he's not as just when he starts, but he can close out a game as well. You can bring him on and he can keep the ball, keep it simple. Great signing, Jorginho. Has been since he's joined. Where are we? Big decisions go against Arsenal, against Newcastle. Steve, did it warrant Arteta's reaction?
I'm trying to think of the reaction. That was the push, wasn't it? That was the push. That was the push the outside at the box. The push on Gabriel and Joe Linton and all that, wasn't it?
Yes, and then it was the ball where we couldn't see whether it went off the pitch or it was on or not. And then Mikel Arteta said ended up going to the PGMLO and complaining. Arsenal complained as well.
Yeah. I mean, it might be my character, mate, but it's something I probably would have lost it like that. So I loved it. Do you know what I mean? I want to see my manager have a little bit stick up for our team. I don't know. I've seen some managers, like especially some. Oh yeah, you can't do that. We've got to keep quiet. We got to, kissy, huggy, PMGOLE, and all that rubbish, like Eddie Howe and Ange Postecoglou and all that. Trying to. But look, we know Mikel Arteta. We know his character, so we wouldn't want to change him. He lost it. He lost it, and I think he had a right to. I think it was an awful decision. I mean, there was I can't remember what there was there, but we've seen like since then. That push on Gabriel was an absolute joke. Do you know what I mean? It was ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? And since then they've been given. So for me, that's lost us the title, isn't it? We could turn around. I know you can't go back on things. I'm not going to do that over a season because we all teams can do that. But we can go back on that. And so, yeah, I think, he, at the end of the day, he come out, he apologised, didn't he? But I think he had every right to come out with it. As I said, it's probably something I would have done anyway. I probably would have come out and lost my rag. I would. He even said, didn't he? He said that, I don't think these people who are running in the PGL realise how hard we work during the week, during the year, to get these little moments, to get the extra point. What goes into it, and then you've got some twat sitting up in VAR who just gives away a decision, and I think that's why he lost it. He said it was a disgrace. I thought it was a disgrace. I loved it, mate. I want my manager to do that. Not all the time, obviously, but I like my manager to have a bit of passion. So if he's going to show that every now and then, I'm fine for it. I don't want to see him get booked and sent off and sitting in the stands, but yeah, at that time, I think it was the first one who really sort of like come out and said, look, we've had enough of this. This is getting ridiculous. And after that, there's been quite a few since. So it got worse after that. It never got better. But Arteta's just, he said his piece, and after that, he's good, weren't he? But yeah, I think he had every right, mate. I liked it. As I say, I liked to have my manager just to have a bit about him, show a bit of passion, be proud of his team. He knows how hard they work, and when he sees things like that happen on a football pitch and all their hard work gets thrown away, then you're going to lose it. So, yeah, I thought he had every right.
Melvin, big controversial game. Did he have every right to come out with that reaction? Should he have acted a bit more professional?
Well, it wasn't a bad decision in my opinion. It was 3 bad decisions in the goal. And that's what probably lit the fuse. Oh, and also I've got a question for you too. What manager with blood in his veins in the Premiership wouldn't have reacted to that in the same situation?
Yeah. Especially that's such a high pressure as well with us going for the title when you know it's small margins.
Exactly, yeah.
But the goal could have been disallowed 3 times. I think that if the guy that scored the goal, the guy from Everton,
Gordon,
what's his name?
Anthony Gordon.
Sorry. If Gordon would have punched the ball in the, he was offside. If he'd have punched the ball in the net, I still feel it was going to be given anyway. It wouldn't have made the slightest bit of difference. Make it 4 reasons not to give it. They still wanted to give it. And I think the only time I've actually seen it this season when I'm not very trustworthy, perhaps. I think in the back of their mind they're biased without them knowing they're biased, if that makes sense. I've seen Liverpool-Tottenham where Liverpool scored a perfectly good goal and it was a genuine mistake because the communication was crap between the referee on the pitch and the people in VAR. This had nothing to do with communication. This was pure idiocy, stroke bentness. That was it for me. And as I say, he lost his rag. Perhaps what should he do? If he could have walked away and go, you know what, that's football. You know as well as I do, it would have been happening to us week after week after week. You've got to put the spotlight on it and say, no, we're not accepting this. We've got a reason not to accept this. And if it keeps happening, well, just something's wrong. I don't blame them at all. And we are only when I say we are supporters, right? We've got the emotional stress of supporting Arsenal. You know, it's in our blood. With him, it's in his blood, plus he's the manager, plus the buck stops with him. And as you say, Steve, all the work they put in, ruined by whatever you like to call it, whether it's a mistake, which I don't 3 mistakes. I don't buy that at all. But you might call it 3 mistakes. I don't. And to see that happening, you're thinking, hold on a minute. Where are we? We're at Newcastle. What do they want? They got big money. We haven't. You know, the things are turning here, the ownership. I'm sure if we would have been playing Newcastle and they hadn't had the ownership, that things might have been slightly different. Had Steve Bruce as manager. You don't know. All right, the football would have been different. But I'm just saying, you don't know. I just lost all trust in the top guys at football. Too many things are going on that seem to fit together. With the referees going to Saudi Arabia to referee a game and getting, 4 or 5 times their wages to referee one game they're doing a week, and then coming back and it's all the types of Man City, Saudi Arabia and all that. It just stinks, and it just doesn't make sense anymore. And I'm not just saying Arsenal are hard done by. I think Everton have been hard done by. Notts Forest have been hard done by. And there's another one in the mix I can't think of. They're very quick to take points off of these teams. And I don't want to win the league by having points taken off the team above us. At the end of the day, you've got to play fairly. I want, if they finally get done, City, I might change the subject slightly. If City get done, I hope they do. But if they get done and they have certain titles taken away, I don't want Arsenal to get those titles because it's not the same thing. All I want, every title they've won, every cup they've won over that period of time, whether it be 8 or 10 years, they have an asterisk by their name. And people know they did it by cheating.
I think Liverpool are the only club that have said they want that trophy. I think every fan that I've said they don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want a trophy.
No, I don't want it.
I don't want it. Yeah, well, I said I don't want it.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
Not the same. Not the same.
No, it's not the same. It's completely take away the enjoyment from it.
I think Tottenham fans might want it.
Oh, they would take it. They might ask if we don't want it. Can we? Can they? Have it?
That's it. Yeah.
Does it go down? Does it go down the table?
Man United fans will definitely take it.
Yeah, but
they will. They'd take the Audi Cup. They would. Trade in
the FA Cup, so they don't do bad.
Yeah, very much different.
Yeah, Tottenham. What are you talking? What? The FA Cup and Audi Cup? No way. You know. We end the year in fourth. Liverpool and City both have games in hand after we win our final 5 league games of the year. To put that into perspective, we didn't lose our second game of the previous campaign until February. More concerning, the performances with the Gunners struggling in the final third against Aston Villa, West Ham, and Arteta describing the defeat at Fulham as the worst display of the season. January came an incredible amount of missed chances, leads to us being knocked out of the FA Cup by Liverpool. That one hurt. February came, big calls for a 20-goal a season striker, and Arteta said, "What if we went on to score 20 goals?" Well, we did. We didn't. We scored 31 goals in 6 games, and this month was arguably the best football we played of the campaign. Steve, more trips to Dubai needed. Big difference after we came back. We couldn't stop scoring. Mikel Arteta does an interview. They said Arsenal need a 20-goal season striker. He comes out and says, "What if we score 20 in the next 4 games?" Well, in the next 6, we scored 31. Unbelievable.
More trips to Dubai, like you said, mate. But yeah, I mean, what could you say about, from the turn of the year? That's championship form, isn't it? What more can you do? You can't do no more than what we did. We was outstanding. The way of playing that people were concerned about was no more. The players that we signed that people had concerns about had gone. People were eating humble pie. People were. Were saying that this player's this and that player's a waste of money, and all crying in their soup. And Arsenal were on fire, and they were smashing 5s and 6s and 4s and emptying stadiums. We was beating Man City. We beat Liverpool easily.
We ain't got to that one yet,
but we was fantastic, mate. We was great, and yeah, I won't go too far, but yeah, I mean, turning of the year, as I said, the main sort of thing that comes to mind is that, okay, I always thought it would come good in the end, but some of the form of some of the players, just at the turn of Christmas, was like night and day. And it was all about, and that's when you look back and think, and you thought, yeah, he knew this manager knows what he's doing. People were questioning him on the style of play. People were questioning him on signings, and by the time of Christmas, everybody's going, yeah, okay, now we get it. Which I must admit, us on this show, we called it from the beginning of the season anyway. We was trying to tell people what was going on and how they was doing, and what they was trying. Whether we never knew it was going to get to, to wherever it was. I mean, we're not fortune tellers, but we knew what Arteta was doing. We could see what his plan was, and by the time we got to Christmas, it all come together, didn't it? It all come together one. And yeah, look, so it won't go any further than that. But we're now at the situation where all that was worthwhile. All that wonder and ifing and worrying and all that, was all. It was all worth it because we was outstanding, mate. At the time. Yeah, I mean, you can't not say that we wasn't the best team in the Premier League at that time. We was outstanding.
Yeah. Melvin, 5-0 win against Crystal Palace, 2-1 away to Nottingham Forest, a 3-1 demolition of Liverpool, which derailed their season. I say that with my chest and with pride. 6-0 away to West Ham, 5-0 away to Burnley. Was this some of the best football we played in the campaign?
It was, yeah, on two respects. First of all, when we played away to West Ham, beat them 6-0. I don't know, we're not up to Sheffield United yet, but the other 5-0 games we've won away from home, the game was normally over in half an hour. And we got our foot on the throttle and looking for more goals, which is unusual and nice to see. And it was that was the good aspect, but there was a bad aspect that I'd like to touch on. I know we haven't come to the games yet, but you mentioned one of the games. Is that away to Villa when we lost 1-0? Have we gone past that, haven't we?
No, that's coming up.
Oh, sorry. Well, when we come to that, I'll have something to say. But yeah, some of the football we played was outstanding. We were moving as a unit. We were hitting the ball forward much faster. Quick decision making. Great. I mean, Odegaard went into 6th gear on a 5-gear car, didn't he? He was outstanding for some of the season for some reason. He was absolutely. He was a catalyst. He actually introduced our defence to our forward line. You know, he made them all shake hands during the game. He was brilliant. He just made us knit. And you can't imagine a midfield at the moment without him. I mean, they talk about Rice being cheap, but he was chirpy, cheap, wasn't he, really? Signing at 30 million. It was fantastic. You know, he's a fantastic player. I'm critical of him because he doesn't use his right foot enough. If you ever learn how to use his right foot, he'd score another 6-7 goals a season easy, in my opinion. The amount of times he comes on his right foot and he hesitates, pushes it to his left, and game over, the ball's gone. But no, I mean, some of the football, the one touch and the movement going down channels, it was beautiful to watch. You can't complain about that, no. And you didn't actually have to worry about who was playing this position or that position because it was like one brain working the whole team, which is excellent.
Yeah, no, it was good times. There we are. Liverpool drew to Manchester City, puts the title destiny in our own hands into the next round of the Champions League after a difficult game against FC Porto. And then we were handed Bayern into the next round. Some were happy about it, stating, "Bring on Madrid." Then the point at the Etihad that divides opinion. A 0-0 draw at the Etihad Stadium. Steve, did you expect to come out of that game with a draw and people turn around and say that Arsenal should have tried harder, Arsenal should have gone for the victory?
How can I put that? Probably, yeah. You know, you just write it, can't you? You know, it's just the jealousy towards Arsenal this season has been unbelievable. It's just embarrassing, you know, towards what we've done, and the jealousy stinks. I tell you what, it's just, you know, and they can't find. They look for stupid. Oh, you know, you've gone to the Etihad, you know, and you've got a point. Oh, you should have won. You should have won, and it's just, yeah. I don't know if they're taking the piss or the thick, but excuse my language. But yeah, I mean, yeah, in a way, I did expect it, but we went there with a plan and we executed it. You know, Villa went there like a little while after us, didn't they? And they decided to gung ho and got hammered 4-5-0. And you know, we went there. We haven't won there for God knows how long. We come away with a point. So, it was a good performance. I thought people say we didn't attack and we didn't. You know, we had our chances. We had a good chance.
We should have scored.
We should have scored, but
we should have scored.
But the thing is, kids, people are either just they go blinded to that, do they? Because they're just so hell bent. They think, oh, Arsenal going to go Man City. You know, they're already writing up their sheets or newspapers ready for to get slaughtered the following day. You know, Arsenal got hammered, and then like when it doesn't happen, and they're like, oh, this Arsenal team's made a different stuff. Do you know what I mean? You know, Haaland wasn't even in it. Do you know what I mean? He never got a kick. Sleever just wrapped him up in his pocket, which he does most games, to be fair, recently. And So they look for the little thing. They look for the thing. Oh, you could have gone there and and got to and won the draw and won the game. Your mentality ain't right and all that. Well, where was Man City's mentality? When they come to the Emirates, where did that went missing? Where was Liverpool's mentality? Where was your mentality when you come to when you played Arsenal, when Man United come? Where was your mentality? Just excuses, mate. And and as soon as you get into the debate with them, they just start coming out with rubbish. But I did expect it, mate. But I thought it was a good performance. I thought we did well.
Melvin, did you expect for people to be critical of Arsenal's performance at the Etihad when they came out with a draw, a team that hasn't lost there since 2021?
Well, people are always going to criticise us, aren't they? So I'm not worried about that. They can't see it. I don't respect people all the time. Some I do, some I don't. No, for any team to get a draw at the Etihad, you've got to be a good team. You've got to give a good performance. And I'll be quite honest with you. I think that if you remember the game, my two memories from the game is how poorly Jesus played. He had a couple of chances and he fluffed them in the first half. Right, I don't know if you remember that, at the edge of the box a couple of times.
Yeah.
He would try to slalom once when he could have shot. And another one when he did a weak, I think, left foot shot when he could have done a lot better. And also, I'm not digging him out because it happened, and you've got to remember, fine margins, as we say. In the last minute, Trossard, all he had to do was cross the ball for Martinelli running in.
And that Trossard could have scored as well, weren't it? When Trossard a weak shot.
Yeah.
Well, more so for me, I don't remember that, but more so that one was down the left, Trossard, and all he had to do was square it, and Martinelli was running in on it. And even with his bad form, I believe Martinelli would have put that in blindfold.
Yeah.
But to go, listen, we played City twice this year in the league. They never scored a goal, never put a glove on us.
Yeah. Haaland never had a shot on target in the whole game.
Yeah,
2 games.
so no problem at all. No problem at all. And also, was it right you were saying that the match was in our own hand, the league was in our own hands then, Kieran?
Yeah.
So why risk giving it back to City then?
Yeah. I know.
Sorry, I don't believe that. Yeah, if we would have gone for it, we might have done it because I don't think their defence is as good as people make out. But having said that, had we lost that game, that would have been us over and out. And we'd have been bottle jobs and so you can't live with them. They're much better than you. Even if they would have beaten us 1-0, people would have said that. And we couldn't. The first thing was, as we were ahead of them on points plus games, it was in our hands, we couldn't lose that game. That was first priority. It's like when you're playing defence, the first thing you think about is safety. Then you think about, well, I've got a bit of time. I can give it to him, or I can dribble here. First thing is safety, and we had to play the safety game in that game. We could not afford to lose because that would have been the end. And so I'm glad we did what we did.
All right. Auntie says 23 p.m. in Finland. Need to go to bed. Catch the rest tomorrow. Thank you. Good. Thank you for joining us, Hente. As always. Appreciate that. Arsenal's 1-1 draw at the Emirates faces criticism for not going for it against a team that has been unbeaten since 2021 at home. 9 games left, and it's in Liverpool's hands at the top 3 after accepting. Oh, no, sorry. It's in our hands. Where have I gone? Oh, I've missed the Villa game. That's why. The Villa game. Let's go to the Villa game. Arsenal lose to Villa. Poor match after some really good form out of it seemed like it came out of nowhere. Steve, was that the game that lost the league?
Yeah. Probably when you look back on it now, that's the one that I'm not going to be sitting here now and looking back and start picking at where we've lost it. But yeah, look, if we have to, which we're doing a season review, I think that's the one where you look back now and think if we had won that game, we would be champions.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I remember the game. I remember the game well. And yeah, I think we didn't play well through the whole match. We looked disjointed. We just didn't look right. I just didn't seem like the Arsenal that we've been used to be seeing like for the whole year. We was like, what's going on here? What's going on? But at the big, when the team sheet went out, I was worried right from the off. I was like, what's he doing? What are you doing, Mikel? Havertz, who don't care what anyone says, he's been integral to what we've done this season. We're as good as we are now because of him. That's what I believe. He was on fire in his position up front, and Mikel Arteta for some reason wanted to bring Jesus in and put him in the 9 and Havertz in the 8. And I was a little bit baffled by that. And also he brought Zinchenko in. And Zinchenko and Zinchenko and Jesus were awful. Just non-existent, terrible. And Zinchenko was at fault for one of the goals. And it was like, look, Mikel, you've got to hold your hands up on this one. And there's not many times I called him out, but I think he's got to take the blame for that one. Mm-hmm. But look, yeah, it's been and gone now. Hopefully, obviously you learned from it. Next game straight away, Havertz is back in the number 9, and we're back to like the way we were again. So it was obviously a big mistake from the manager, and sadly, it cost us.
Yeah, it did. Melvin, do you think that was the game that lost us the league?
Well, possibly, but there's other games we lost as well. The only reason we say that is because we were doing so well, and that stuck out because we lost it. I don't think we lost any other games, but you see, the thing is, we've scored an amazing amount of goals, but there's 3 games that we lost, but we should have won. We should have won, and it was because we didn't take our chances. Look at West Ham at home. How many chances did we miss against West Ham at home? We didn't have anyone to just do something a bit out of the ordinary. Villa away, they beat us 1-0. I think they had 1 shot on goal. We should have pulverised them away. That should have been a 3-1 win, that game.
We did pulverise them.
3 Villa at home, as you say. First half, I think we did enough to be 2 or 3 up. That one that Trossard missed from 2 yards out, where Martinez made absolute blind. He made a blinding save, Kieran, but he should never have got the chance to make the save. Had we gone 1-0 up, if's a big word in life, who knows? Who knows? I think the whole thing changed on that. So, yeah, obviously, Villa at home, that was the one where we thought we were beginning to believe we could do it at Villa at home. And that just broke our hearts. That was one that broke our hearts. It may not have cost us the league if you look at the whole season, but that's the first one that's the main one that broke our hearts.
Yeah. I think you could like the West Ham and the Fulham one, you can look at it. But I think you do lose games like that at the beginning of the season. You do. You do lose.
West Ham weren't the beginning of the season, Steve.
Fulham was. It was Fulham. Fulham where we was 1-0 up, and end up drawing 2-2.
We lost. Sorry, you're talking about the home game. I'm talking about the away game.
Yeah,
we got 1 point out of Fulham, and we got no points out of Villa. That's cost us the league, in my opinion. 1 point out of 12 out of those 2 teams. Sorry, when's Fulham? When have we ever got 1 point off?
But what I'm saying is sometimes those results happen, didn't they?
It happened so many times this season for us, I'm afraid.
For me, when we were smashing everybody left, right, and centre from Christmas onwards, we only drew against City away and got beat by Villa. That's it. Unless I was wrong, wasn't it?
I think you're right, Steve, but I think that's when we're saying we don't need another. I think we do need another striker, just to get us out of a hole sometimes. we're in a hole with Villa. We couldn't get out of it. Same as West Ham at home and Villa away. We needed someone to get us out of the hole. Hey, what's this? Who's coming on?
Oh, so you've got a clone.
Don't know. No, yeah. So what was I saying? Yeah, I can't. Didn't we go unbeaten through Christmas apart from the Villa game?
No, we had a torrid time. We had we got knocked out of the Carabao Cup to West Ham. Lost.
No, like in the league before from like
in the league,
turn of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, we only drew one. We only drew one against City.
Drew one, lost one.
Lost one. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say to you, City and Liverpool, they all had awful results against crap teams in and around that before Christmas period because you do. It happens.
Everyone does.
Everybody does. Man City got beat by Wolves. They drew against Crystal Palace at home. Do you know what I mean? And so, I don't think I know we're picking out the West Ham games and the Fulham games. And we could say, yeah, we should have won them. We should have won there. But Man City, it does happen in the early part of the season. You do come up. You do slip up. So that's why and as I said, Liverpool have lost against rubbish. Man City have lost against rubbish. And I suppose, yeah, it's football, isn't it? Football's not black and white. I keep telling people it's not an exact science.
But you can't. Steve, you saying that, it gives me confidence because if we can have a decent run up to Christmas, we know we can do it the second half of the season now.
Yeah.
And we have.
Very rarely, though.
We know we can do it now, Kieran.
Yeah.
Because before, you know what Arsenal were like, end of the season.
Yeah, they run out of steam.
Yeah. But even like in cities, they tend to get. Do you know what I'm saying? From August up until December.
Yeah,
you get these really crappy results. It doesn't matter who you are.
No, you do. We used to have November. It used to be November was our tough month.
Oh, shocking.
Yeah, but City have raised the bar, which means you have to have a near perfect season to win the league. And we're talking about you have to win 31 games out of 38, and you've got to have minimal losses in amongst that as well.
Yeah, because we matched them with games, didn't we? They won 28, we won 28.
Yeah, and in the second half of the season, it was 16. It was 14, 2-1, and Man City's was 14, 1-1.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
we've near enough matched what people look at Man City and go, they are a freak of nature. Arsenal really matched it, so there's a lot to be proud of.
And I know, and that's why I'm like. I just want other fans from other clubs to respect that and stop.
Steve, there's no point. There's no point. Don't worry about other fans.
Do not throw your nonsense talk to me.
There ain't no point. Steve, it's like politics, mate. If you support Labour or the Conservatives, they can do whatever you want. Certain people will always vote Conservative, whatever they do, or they will always vote Labour, whatever they do. Not everyone, but there are certain people who cannot change their mind.
Yeah, it don't matter.
They're
not interested.
They turn in your tap, it won't be water, it'll be wine. Anything you want from any year, and people go, yeah, but you know what I mean? Do I really
it's like when you try and explain Arsenal's the way we play and like the our striker situation and the type of striker we need. It doesn't go in. Do you know what I mean? And it's so frustrating that you feel like you're talking to football people and they don't get it. They don't get it. They don't get it that you can go and buy.
If you dislike Arsenal, there's a very good chance, especially this season, that you've watched very little of Arsenal because you don't.
Well, it does seem like
I 100% agree on that because the people have a lot to say, and it's like you didn't watch the game, did you? And I can tell by what you've said there.
Exactly,
because you're going off of what has happened or what the general consensus is saying. That's what you're going off, and you can. I see a lot of people very see through this season. Good to see you, James.
James. What's James say? I missed that.
Sorry. What he says? Evening all. Enjoying the show as always. Appreciate that.
But those like what you've just brought up there with the amount of games that us and City won. We both won the same. Do you know what I mean? We drew more than they did. And do you know what I mean? It was just It was the just such fine.
It's very small margins. But like I was saying before. With 9 games left, it was Liverpool in Liverpool's hands at the top 3, accepting we may have to win all our games to become champions. On paper, it appears that we had the toughest running. 2-0 win against Luton, 3-0 win against Brighton, a 4-goal thriller in the Champions League against Bayern Munich, and then the loss to Aston Villa. Knocked out the Champions League, 1-0 to Bayern Munich. But after that, it was back to normal. Wins against Wolves, back-to-back derby wins, 5-0 against Chelsea, 3-2 away to Tottenham. The Gunners were carrying on winning, but were running out of time and finding it difficult for someone to take points of City. A very mature 1-0 victory at Old Trafford. And then it was Everton on the final game of the season. It wasn't enough. It was not enough. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. But you have to say, for Arsenal, a very, very good season. Ignore all the digs that these rival fans will give you. They're only saying this because they're genuinely worried. They are worried about Arsenal and the fact that they are not going to be able to live down all this rubbish they've been talking about us for years. A league title is coming, a cup's coming, something's coming. So just
do you believe it, mate? Next year, do you think we're gonna?
I don't know about next year.
I'm not an optimist normally, but I very rarely say Arsenal's going to win the league. But I expect us to win the league next year. Yeah, I very rarely say that.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we're definitely going to be in a similar position to this year, challenging for the league. With that, I would really like to push for a cup, though. Like we're good enough now. We're good enough now to do both. I don't think it needs to be one or the other. I think we're good enough now to push to go further in a cup. Like
I would not settle
getting knocked out of the third round of the FA Cup.
I would not settle for the FA Cup and come in second. All right.
This is what people like. This is what
I don't understand what you mean by settle, Melvin.
If you said to me now,
yeah,
we win the cup, but we ain't going to win the league. No, thank you.
Yeah, but that's comparing the cup to the league.
That's it. I see people get confused. They say,
"What about expectations, Kieran?"
Yeah. People don't. I know what you're saying, but people don't seem to understand that. People like you know, I've had it on here. I've had it with people, and they say, "Well, you should win the FA Cup. You want to win the you're dissing the FA Cup. Don't tell me I'm dissing the FA Cup. I've been more FA Cups than most people on this planet. I've never missed an FA Cup. But what I'm saying is, when you're in a position like Arsenal are, like now, it's exactly what Melvin said. Your mind's not on an FA Cup.
I don't understand. I don't understand.
It's not there. It's not that we don't want to win it and we wouldn't go. I'd be there. Do you know, I'd have a ticket. I'd be cheering. But it's very difficult to like have people go, "Oh, you've got to win the League Cup. You've got to win." I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it. Don't talk about that.
I don't understand why. I don't understand why it has to be a choice. Why can you not go? Why can you not? Wait, can I finish? Why can you not go for the league and go for the cup?
Because people don't see it like that, kids. People don't see it like that. They think because where we are at the moment as Arsenal, we want the league. We're there. To me, we're ready to win the league. That's our next step, right? But what I get told that people said, well, even if you don't, you should be happy with an FA Cup. No, I'm not. I'm not Tottenham. I'm not your Man United. I'm not Chelsea. No, I'm this close from the league. It's not, it's like either giving it to you as a bonus. Yes, kids, you're absolutely right. If you can get both, brilliant. The double, fantastic.
Yeah.
But don't like fans keep telling me, well, you Arsenal fan, you're arrogant, you're this, you're that, because you're dissing the FA Cup. It's not about dissing the FA Cup. It's about like the fact that, people telling you that, you should be happy with it if you don't win the league. Well, I'm sorry, I can't. Not now.
No, I don't think. I think there's got to be more context to it. Like, I think because I, even there when I said it, it was like I wouldn't be happy if we didn't win the league.
I know,
won the FA Cup.
But Kieran,
what I'm saying is,
you don't need to say it. You don't need to say it because I know that you think anyway. I know that you don't mean it like that.
But for me.
People should know that.
Progression on next year, if we weren't to win the league, progression on next year would be pushing further in the cups because, like I said before, Arsenal as a club getting knocked out in the third round of the FA Cup, getting knocked out in the last 16 of the EFL Cup to West Ham, is not good enough. Like that's simple, straight facts. That's not good enough. If you get knocked out to Liverpool, like we got knocked out to Liverpool in the FA Cup, but we should have won. Like if we got knocked out to West Ham, if you get knocked out to Man City, you get knocked out to a decent team. We got knocked out to West Ham 3-0. Didn't even lay a glove on them.
It's like, luck of the draw like as well, isn't it? It's luck of the draw, isn't it? It's luck of the draw.
No doubt.
Man United won the cup. They should have got knocked out by Coventry, for God's sake.
But they beat Liverpool. But they still beat Liverpool.
Luckily, but it's the luck of the draw, isn't it? You can't base your season on the luck of the draw. You can't. You definitely can't. But people are saying, like, if we got knocked out in the third round in the FA Cup, you get from stupid ass fans coming and saying, "Oh, you got knocked out again in the FA Cup."
No, like, but it's the other side of it where it's like, it's just the FA Cup. We can concentrate on the league. It's just like we're not there. Mate. We've got a big enough squad. We've got a big enough squad to be able to compete in the cups as well as push for the league. Like there's enough players in this squad that weren't getting game time this season in the league. There was more than enough.
Yeah.
And it's those cups that give them game time, that that make them feel a part of the team, so that when we do need them later on down the line, it's not they've not played a real competitive game. They've only come on 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there when we're 4-0 up. That's the difference I'm talking about.
Certain players that haven't been given time, when they were given time later on the season, you realise why they weren't given time. They're just, some of them are not good enough, and some of them should be off.
Yeah, we're talk about that.
But it's just like the three of us here. You know, you don't need people telling us that, that we don't, we don't want to. We're not bothered about the FA Cup. It's just that, for 20 years now we haven't won the league. We're a team that I'm used to winning league. I'm seeing. I've been at Highbury lifting, seeing parades and lifting titles, and Wenger and Graham and Invincibles. And when you get to a point where you're just this close now from doing it again, and then you get told, well, you should be happy with an FA Cup. It's very difficult, but of course you don't. No one's dissing it. I've grown up on the FA Cup, but it's hard to explain to them. They'll take the little bit out of what you've said and then make it less big. Do you know what I mean? To something else.
Is that the 97-98 goalkeeper top? Yes, it is. This is absolute classic. Used to have a dark and red trim, and 99 as well. Look, we won't even go into this yet, but back in the day, when your mum used to buy you a new kit, she used to throw the other one away, yeah? And my mum used to love doing that. She'd new trainers. Where's my other trainers, mum? So I go play football. I threw them away. You got new trainers. She used to do that with my kits as well. And she threw away the one with the lightning bolt.
That's
Still
it.
hurts. Still hurts.
Can I just say,
as well.
Do you know one thing that I regret about this season? Right, and it's just and I would have loved to have happened. If on that last day of the season, do you realise if West Ham could have got something out of that game, Kai Havertz would have won us the title. I would have.
If what?
I would. I mean, I've got receipts on Havertz now. People made themselves look like idiots on Havertz, right? And I love it. But could you just imagine if West Ham and he had won us the title with that goal?
I mean, I'd be happy with anyone wins the title. It's due. James says at the start of the year we have 4 pots. We want 2 of the big pots now. If we win any of the others, it's a bonus.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, that's definite. Yeah, I agree with that.
Game of the season, Steve.
Game of the season. Oh God, there's so many, mate, isn't there? There's so many. Game of the season.
You're allowed 1 because we're wrapping up.
Shall I give mine while he's thinking about it?
I'm going to say it because it's just as a personal thing. Arsenal and Chelsea 5-0.
Okay, that's a good one. That's
beautiful. I love that. Beautiful day.
The game where we beat Man City 1-0, we have arrived.
All right. That actually got a couple of votes on that one. I'm going for the 3-1 demolition of Liverpool because it ended their title campaign.
I tell you what,
Liverpool fans were so smug before, after they were so bitter and salty, and it honestly, I made a new enemy. So yeah.
Do you know what, Kieran? You just took the words right out my mouth there, because I was just about to say I've never known Kieran to hate Liverpool. It's always had good with words, but soon as that 3-1 happened, I'm like, he turned into this Liverpool.
They came out of woodworks. I've linked up with Man United fans. We're swapping notes now. It's a new me. It's a new me. And before we go, who's your player of the season, Steve?
Kai Havertz. No. It's got to be Declan Rice, mate. Yeah. It could be.
Who was your player of the season?
My one. Yeah, Rice is a good call, Steve, but my one is someone that I just sit there and watch him and go, oh my God, Saliba.
Oh, Saliba.
Martin Odegaard's got one foot. I
went for someone different as well, and I went for Martin Odegaard. I thought you was going to say a player you could watch all day. For me, a player I could watch all day. I could watch Martin Odegaard play football in the garden on his own. Like he's that good. Twists, turns, whatever. He's just ridiculous. So,
don't you talk about Martin Odegaard. You never put him in your Premier League team yesterday. Don't you give me all that as a disgrace.
Excuse me.
Have I told you what one of my
you put Cole Palmer as a centre forward, Steve.
Don't give me. I'm not talking about Chelsea. That's the Arsenal show.
As a centre forward. Although Martin Odegaard visually was impeccable this season. Like I think he made a few other people go, oh, this Odegaard is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Stat wise, he didn't match up with the others, so that's why I didn't put him in. Because he didn't produce the goals or the assists that he did last season, but he played so well. He played so well this season.
Yeah, it was the eye test, wasn't it? It was the eye
test for Odegaard this season. Yeah. Forget the stats. It was about watching.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for everyone tonight. Thank you in the comment section. That is the end of the season review 2023-24. Thank you for joining us, Steve.
Pleasure, mate. Pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us, Melvin.
As always, thanks, lads.
All right. Make sure you join us every Monday for, it'd be the Transfer Exchange Show because the Super 6 podcast is finished. We did our team of the season yesterday. Please go and watch it. Go and check it out. It was a good laugh. Plenty.
I tried, Melv. I tried.
Steve done his best to try and get 11 Arsenal players in. Every position covered an Arsenal player. Got to respect it. You got to respect it. Make sure you join us every Monday because it's going to be geared around transfers. We've got Steve here. We're going to be doing player profiles. We're going to be giving you the latest transfer news coming from the world of football. So make sure you come and join us. Make sure you hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button. And if you are watching on Twitter, make sure you press that retweet so that everyone else can see. Who's in the comment section? Brilliant. Thanks. Thank you very much, James. Appreciate your support. As I said, if you are watching on Twitter, press that like and press that retweet. Make sure you join us every Monday and Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Peace out, people. Stay safe and wash your hands.